Well, this is one of our favorite spots on the property here in Minnesota, and it's, you know, maybe coincidentally, maybe it is because of, but this is where we first got footage of Kermit. Bought the property in June of 2020, and sometime, I think the end of June, Dylan? June 26th? Yeah, some latter half of June, we got a video of Kermit coming in here and pictures of him, and he just looked beautiful. He's a buck I later shot. He was our #1 target buck on the property here in Minnesota. What we thought to be a 6-year-old, and just to be able to walk in and have a buck like that and be able to start getting pictures of him was a great thing. We have something that I use that I think is the cheapest deer hunting attractant that you can actually install wherever you deer hunt. And you have to check your laws on public land, but we want to enhance the spot. We already have enhanced the spot. So what we're doing is, it's such an important spot to us that second, not first, we're adding a water hole just right here in this opening. I mean, literally 20, 15 feet in front of me, right here. And that'll allow us from an oak right up there to put a stand. It'll be about 25-yard shot to this water hole. We have a lot of movement through here. So now we'll be able to hunt with our wind blowing out to the field. We also have a stand right behind Dylan. And with that stand, we can hunt with all our wind going this way in the morning or evening. There's not many deer down this steep face in this exact location. So a great place to set up for an overall hunt. But the first thing we did here, and our cheapest deer habitat improvement, hunting improvement that you can make on your land, is we installed the mock scrape. That's what Kermit was coming in here hitting. Really, when you think about it, all the enhancements that you can make, all the things you can buy, gear, gadgets, this is such a powerful tool that you can add anywhere you hunt. We use a mock vine. Did you say this is a Virginia creeper? Yep. Vine, and old grapevine sometimes, but this vine was a little bit too small. It's about 3 feet. We really like them about 6 feet or longer, and it looks more natural. If you just have a small stick, for example, like this hanging there, it's not going to work too for you. But the cost of this vine, no cost at all. We already have them here. Now, if you wanted to use a jack pine branch up north, exceptional. A white oak branch in areas where there's no vines, awesome. Hemlock branches, aspen branches. What you're using are branches that are naturally rubbed on and scraped under in the first place. I like them hanging vertical. Why? Because if you look at this, we just installed a new one. It was free. We installed this new one right here. When fawns come through here, they can hit this. They can utilize this vine. So the fawns are going to hit this. Does will hit it. Young bucks, older bucks, the entire deer herd hits it. This right here, again, very natural, but just a little too short. You can see how this has a bend in it. It goes all the way up to this rope that we've installed right here. Very good setup. This allows all deer that come through here to participate in using the mock scrape. We don't want this off to the side. For example, we could have made a scrape that, for example, we could have had coming off the shagbark hickory, coming out over the ground and going right here on the side like a traditional licking branch. We'll find that bucks will go off to the side, maybe an occasional doe, but the entire deer herd doesn't use it. The more deer that use this scrape and rub their preorbital gland scent on this, then the more scent accumulates and the stronger this becomes. We put this right on a trail anyways. There's a trail going right there, right down this lane. There's a trail, and the trail goes right up back behind Dylan. So this goes right through here. We're already hunting here because this is a natural funnel. It's a flat, it gets steep. We're hunting this flat, or the deer are moving way down below. So there's already natural scraping take place. We have rubs that are taking place in this location. So we have a lot of deer sign, a lot of deer activity. Most of the trees in here have been rubbed in years past or scarred up. So it's a natural place for us to hunt anyways. We're adding a mock scrape as an enhancement. That was the first step. That was the first year that we added this. So it's very critical for us to add this here. When I go to a new property like this, the first thing I'm doing on any improvement, okay, we think bucks will cruise here. I could care less if they're here during the summer. We know they're gonna cruise here during the fall. So the next step is to add a mock scrape in front of our stand location. That allows us to take several trails that are in here and combine them into one where that scrape takes place. We find that every mature buck in the area, including Venti here this last year, use these scrapes. We have another one right over here by where I shot Kermit, 300 yards away, somewhere in that location. So we can use these different stands with different approaches, different winds, closer to food, further away, and then we're actually adding a water hole here, which will be our third hunting season. So the priority was adding the mock scrape. I want to make sure I give you the details again of this scrape. People ask all the time, you know, how high should the mock scrape be? How long should the vine be? Vine, again, 6 feet long, somewhere around there. If we're hanging it from a line like this between two trees, then I want it to be a little bit longer. If it was hanging out of a lower hanging branch, the bottom line, it's got to be about waist high, somewhere around in here. And if you're wondering about these specifics for mock scrapes, I have almost 50 mock scrape videos in my playlist on YouTube. So really good tutorial of how to make these. We usually go over how to make them on every mock scrape video that we talk about. But it's got to be somewhere around waist high. Rather have it be this high. When we came out today, this was about right here in this range. They'll still hit it. That's the height of a traditional branch, but not as well. You want this right in their face. Again, you want fawns to participate, so there's all kinds of scent on the end of there. That scent will last for days, if not longer. They can smell other individual deer on there. It's a way they can identify themselves with the preorbital gland. They're not actually rubbing it with their antlers very much. They're just coming in, rubbing their nose and eyes. And when they get real aggressive during the rut, sometimes they'll really hit this and rake it and sometimes break it. And that's what happened here. I'm sure a big buck came in here and broke it right off. We want this about this height. We want a vine that's at least 5, 6, 7 feet long. If you're hanging it between trees, you know, a rope going across, we want that rope to be 10 feet across. If it's a bigger open space where you have 15 feet to span and they're big open hardwoods, then we want that rope up 12 feet, 10 feet in the air, not 6 feet off the ground. And then we want a longer vine so it just looks natural to the deer. Again, the opposite of that is this little stub. Let's say this is right here, just hanging right over the trail. Looks very unnatural to them. This looks very natural, just like one of these broken vines. The greatest natural scrapes that I see touring properties and looking at all the properties I do and have throughout the years and hunting as well are vine scrapes. They're natural vine scrapes. They tend to last a long time. They're in the same location, and like we did right now, you can just replace them. Very easy to do. So waist high, 6, 7 foot long right here. Depending on how you're attaching that, if it was to a big branch coming out, that branch could be a little bit lower because it's natural. We have a line going across. This is about at least 9 feet up, somewhere around there. So 6, 7 feet long, waist high. And then we wanted a completely flat surface right here. You can actually see deer hair in here, but they use this, and we want it right in the middle of the trail, not off to the side. We want it right within 20, 25 yards of our stand location because most of the bucks that come through here are going to hit this mock scrape during the daylight. It's a great way to keep inventory. So every deer that comes through here, instead of being on that trail down there or that trail up here, they come right to this location because that repeated established pattern of use dictates that when they come back during the hunting season, they'll hit this vine. What we like to see is during the summer, we'll see a buck hit this in June, a random buck. We're not seeing that buck very often. Like Kermit, we didn't see that often during the summer. But when it got to the hunting season, he was here all the time. What they do is they forecast their movements. So Kermit could have been staying a mile away from here during the summertime, but when he did come through the property, let's say he was bumped off that random field nearby, then he's going to come onto the property where he feels safe during the fall. He hits the mock scrape, and then you know you have him. He's going to come back. This is a very safe thing to do. People are concerned about CWD, EHD. There's natural scrapes in the woods everywhere. Deer hit them of all shapes and sizes. People have mineral licks where they shouldn't or where they should. Bait piles, natural mineral licks. But deer congregate in locations all the time. This is a natural activity that deer partake in. It's highly attractive. And what we like to do to tie this is you look up at Fleet Farm. We looked up $5 for 100 feet of paracord. Literally, Dylan said I used 10 feet here. I was thinking more like 5 feet. But one of the things we look at is we have a lot of branches that we use that are only 6, 7 feet high. And we're just using 2 feet of rope to tie to that branch and come down. And then like this case right here, we probably do have closer to 10 feet. So really, 10 feet out of 100, 1/10, literally what it costs us to make this deer hunting attraction something that's so powerful, something that I want to put in before I even put the water hole in 3 years later, something that establishes where our stand locations are go. We have 2 X's trail cameras right here. We have an SD card video camera we set on the Exodus lift too, and then we're using the Exodus render, which is my cell cam up top. We put 2 cameras here because it's a very important spot to us. We like getting the B-roll in this location. We have 2 stands. We're adding a water hole here, but again, the priority, mock scrape, stand location. I put up 1 mock scrape per stand location. So we have this stand location set up right here that requires 1 mock scrape, not several in between. I want the value of this one to remain high. If I add 5 or 6 mock scrapes around here, I'm just diluting the value of this one right in front of our cameras and right in front of our stands. They could hit one of those and not come here. So I want them to focus on this. It's highly attractive, it's natural, and this one costs us literally about 50 cents of rope to make, and that's it. No scent added. That is critical. Deer leave their own scent. If we spray anything on here, we're just covering up natural deer scent. I want those fawns. Look up on YouTube, dancing fawns and mock scrape. You'll find a video we put out a long time ago, and it's just some fawns dancing around a mock scrape. Pretty cool. Those fawns are not even 2 months old, and they're coming in and hitting the mock scrape, and they're excited. Tails flickering, they're running around, going back to it, smelling it, because they're smelling several other deer that have already been there. Bucks, does, bucks of different ages, does of different ages. It becomes a very social location. It's very cheap. When you're following these steps, waist high, flat surface, on the trail, 6 or 7 feet high, 50 cents a rope, no scent added, because if you add scent to this soil right here, bucks only urinate in this or scrape it at all with their hooves and their toes. They're typically not scraping that until the rut. So the amount of scent in here has nothing to do with the attraction. The amount you spray on here, you're just potentially covering it up. It doesn't matter if it's a preorbital gland scent, let alone I've seen people put urine bottles up here, scent drippers that drimp all over this with urine. Deer don't lift their leg and pee upward onto a scrape like this, any scrape. The vertical scrape gets a lot more attention. You can hang it right over a trail. It's participated by all deer in the local herd, and you'll enjoy this because it's ultra cheap, ultra easy. I just bring a tall person along like Dylan, and he can tie the rope up there. It's pretty easy. Or we just step off the side of the ATV. I've done that so many times. Step on the ATV, put a line across, use just 1 ladder step to get up to a height. Very easy, highly, highly powerful. You'll love them if you put them out. Tens of thousands have used them online. You can see this. It's free. I don't make any money from them. I don't make money from paracord. Obviously, I've had many scent companies get a hold of me to use their attractions for sponsorship. I don't want the dollars. I don't believe in it, and you shouldn't either, because it's that cheap, that powerful, and that easy. Just doing it like this, naturally allowing the scent to collect from different deer in the deer herd, and you will enjoy it this fall. And if you're doing that, obviously you're doing it in front of a stand location. You're always making sure you have a local camera tree that you can put cameras on that's off to the side and hidden a little bit. You'll have a great time like we do. I've seen these used on public land in different areas, private land all around the country. They work if you follow the steps. Put it on a natural spot where deer are going to cruise through anyways, narrow it down to that 1 trail, and you'll have a great mock scrape and a cheap deer hunting improvement that you can count on for years to come in the same location to enhance your stands and enhance your enjoyment of watching the local deer herd this fall. Folks, I want to make sure you check out my web class video series, whether it's how to design your food plot program or how to design your property in general. And we have a new one coming out that'll be how to hunt the rut. But these bucks back here are a testament. Some of these bucks go back to 93. They're even in different states. I urge you to check out those web classes that you can help yourself, help your land, help your hunt. The link is in the description. And also for those that have tried them out, I encourage you to offer some feedback in the comments below. Thank you.